Welcome to Hollywood Information. In this video, we are going to explore 10 X-rated 1970s movies that are actually awesome, bold, controversial, artistic, and far more meaningful than their ratings might suggest. The 1970s was a decade of cinematic rebellion. Filmmakers pushed boundaries, challenged censorship laws, and explored mature themes in ways that reshaped modern cinema forever. 1. A Clockwork Orange, 1971, directed by the legendary Stanley Kubrick. This dystopian masterpiece is one of the most debated films ever made. Based on the novel by Anthony Burgess, the film follows Alex DeLarge, a charismatic but violent young man navigating a futuristic Britain. Originally released with an X rating in the United States due to its disturbing violence and mature themes, the film isn't exploitative, it's philosophical. Kubrick examines free will, state control, and moral conditioning. The striking visual style, classical music contrasts, and Malcolm McDowell's unforgettable performance elevated the film into cinematic legend. Over time, its reputation grew from scandalous to essential. Today, it's considered one of the most important films of the 20th century. 2. Midnight Cowboy, 1970. While originally released in 1969, this groundbreaking drama, starring Jon Voight and Dustin Hoffman, carried its X rating into the early 1970s cultural conversation. It remains the only X-rated film to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. The story follows Joe Buck, a naive Texan who moves to New York City hoping to make it big, and his unlikely friendship with con man Ratso Rizzo. Rather than sensationalism, the film presents a gritty, emotional portrait of loneliness and survival. Its raw realism helped usher in the new Hollywood era, a period when filmmakers took bigger creative risks and told more adult stories. 3. Last Tango in Paris, 1972, directed by Bernardo Bertolucci and starring Marlon Brando and Maria Schneider. This film became one of the most controversial releases of the decade. The story centers on an intense and emotionally complex relationship between two strangers in Paris. While the film's mature content drew global censorship battles, many critics praised Brando's deeply vulnerable performance. Beyond controversy, the film explores grief, identity, and emotional isolation. Its raw emotional honesty and improvisational style influenced countless filmmakers. 4. The Exorcist, 1973, directed by William Friedkin and based on the novel by William Peter Blatty. This horror phenomenon terrified audiences worldwide. Though later re-rated, it initially carried an X rating in some territories due to its shocking intensity. The story of a young girl possessed by a demonic entity redefined horror cinema. What makes it awesome isn't just the scares, it's the seriousness with which it treats faith, doubt, and psychological trauma. The performances, especially by Ellen Burstyn and Linda Blair, add emotional depth to the horror. Even decades later, it remains one of the scariest and most respected horror films ever made. 5. In the Realm of the Senses, 1976, directed by Nagisa Oshima. This Japanese-French co-production is one of the most daring films ever released. Based on a true story from 1930s Japan, the film explores an obsessive romantic relationship that spirals into tragedy. It was controversial worldwide for its explicit content, yet critics recognized it as a serious art house film examining obsession and emotional intensity. It's less about shock and more about psychological fixation and human desire pushed to extremes. Its artistic cinematography and minimalistic storytelling make it a fascinating piece of international cinema history. 6. Caligula, 1979, produced by Bob Guccione and starring Malcolm McDowell, Helen Mirren, and Peter O'Toole. This epic historical drama became infamous upon release. Depicting the excesses of the Roman Emperor Caligula, the film blended historical drama with controversial adult content. Despite chaotic production issues, it features elaborate sets, strong performances, and moments of genuine dramatic power. Though divisive, it stands as one of the boldest cinematic experiments of its time. 7. The Devils, 1971, directed by Ken Russell and starring Oliver Reed and Vanessa Redgrave. This historical drama shocked audiences with its provocative imagery. Set in 17th century France, the film examines religious hysteria and political manipulation. Its intense themes led to censorship battles and bans in several countries. Today, it's recognized as a daring critique of institutional power and mass hysteria. 8. Straw Dogs, 1971, directed by Sam Peckinpah and starring Dustin Hoffman and Susan George. This psychological thriller explores violence and masculinity. The film sparked intense debate upon release due to its disturbing scenes. However, critics have since recognized it as a complex study of human aggression and moral limits. Peckinpah's direction creates unbearable tension, leading to a powerful and thought-provoking climax. 9. Pink Flamingos, 1972, directed by cult filmmaker John Waters and starring Divine. This underground classic became a midnight movie sensation. Outrageous, shocking, and intentionally provocative, the film embraces counterculture rebellion. It pushed taste boundaries further than most mainstream films ever dared. Yet beneath the shock value lies satire, a gleeful rejection of conventional morality and cinematic norms. 10. The Last Picture Show, 1971, directed by Peter Bogdanovich and starring Jeff Bridges, Sybil Shepherd, and Ben Johnson. This coming-of-age drama captured the fading innocence of small-town America. Though controversial for its mature themes, the film is poetic, melancholic, and beautifully shot in black and white. It explores loneliness, transition, and the end of an ER 8.IT remains one of the most critically acclaimed films of the 1970s. Final thoughts: the 1970s were a revolutionary time in Hollywood. The X rating didn't always mean exploitation. Sometimes it meant fearless storytelling. These films challenged audiences, confronted taboos, and expanded what cinema could be. From philosophical dystopias and intense psychological dramas to horror classics and underground cult films, these movies proved that bold filmmaking could stand the test of time. They may have shocked audiences decades ago, but today they're studied, celebrated, and respected as groundbreaking works of art. If you enjoyed this deep dive into controversial yet awesome 1970s cinema, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video with fellow movie lovers. Thanks for watching.